People, they don't feel safe in our communities. I know lately there have been some reports out saying that data shows that crime is down. I don't believe that's true. I don't know where that data is coming from. I think maybe it's being misinterpreted, because when I look at the data, we are seeing that crime is still well above what it was pre-pandemic. That's what the statistics show. I don't know if others are trying to say that, well, it's a little bit better than 2023. It's not where it needs to be. Again, the public just doesn't feel safe. I hear that all the time from the people I represent. Doesn't matter where I'm at. I just held mobile office hours, 3 different mobile office hours. Number one concern, what are we doing to address the crime issue? What are we doing to keep dangerous people off of our streets? I'm in the grocery store with my husband or at the gas station. I get asked, Pam, what are we doing? We had another homicide. What are we doing to stop this? And my answer to them, I try to be truthful all the time. The response is, we have this problem because New York State is one of the only states in our entire nation, that does not allow courts to consider public safety when making pretrial decisions. That's not good, not good. But of course, when I give people that response, they ask me, well, why not? Why doesn't New York State allow that? And I think that's a very reasonable question, right? When something's broke, you fix it. And that should be the case when it involves something as important as protecting our families, our seniors, and our local businesses. And when we do nothing, when the majority in the Senate, the Assembly, and the governor, when they choose to bury their heads in the sand and do nothing, it jeopardizes another person's life every single day. But the good news, as Senator Ort said, we have a common sense solution that's targeted policy to fix this problem. It's legislation called the PROTECT Act. And just to give you a little more detail on the PROTECT Act, under this bill, the courts would be required to use a standardized assessment tool that's developed by the New York State Division of Criminal Justice to help determine the potential threat posed by individuals who are charged with a Class A misdemeanor or a felony. So it's not everyone who goes through this process, it's the serious offenders. Individuals who are determined to be a danger to themselves, to the community, or to others can be held pre-trial. And I think this is very important, and this is something we hear about all the time. Under the PROTECT Act, repeat offenders arrested for a new Class A or a felony while on pretrial release will remain in custody unless a judge determines their risk to reoffend has been sufficiently mitigated. We included 3 critical safeguards in this bill. First, judges must make pretrial custody determinations based on risk, not on a person's ability to financially pay for bail. Second, every pretrial custody decision must be made in 48 hours, so no one is held without timely judicial review. And third, the PROTECT Act acknowledges the mental health crisis that contributes to crimes, and it supports mental health interventions. So the leader mentioned Sheriff Todd Baxter, who has been an incredible partner in the development of this bill, and I want to say thank you to the sheriff again. The sheriff has worked so closely with my office and also with a number of consortiums for safer communities across the entire state of New York. And I know the leader mentioned the religious leaders from Monroe County who are here with us today, and I thank you both for being here. Of course, the consortium was made up of many religious leaders, many local elected officials, including the mayor from Honeoye Falls, Rick Milne, who's also a Monroe County legislator. Rick, I thank you for being here as well. Our consortiums include a large number of not-for-profit leaders and business leaders. And I just want to comment on how important it was to have the business leaders. Hearing from we hear about the tragedies, about the horrendous crimes that occur when repeat offenders are let back out on the streets, but something that really never resonated with me until I heard from the consortiums is how these crimes are driving up costs for business, and that translates into higher costs for everyone on products and goods and services. So I appreciate this very unique, this very diverse team coming together to help us make the best bill possible. Throughout the drafting of the bill, as you can imagine, we listened to the feedback from everyone. And as a result of this incredible, and I have to stress that, incredible team effort and collaboration, we now have a truly nonpartisan policy that will allow us to strengthen current public safety laws, and the bottom line is to protect people. We worked really hard to garner statewide support for this legislation. We have support from the New York State Sheriff's Association, the Monroe County Consortium for Safe Communities, the Finger Lakes Consortium, the Niagara Region Consortium, the Central New York Consortium, Erie County, Lifespan of Greater Rochester, the Monroe County Association of Police Chiefs, the New York State Car Wash, and so many local municipalities. And where we go from here is we're going to continue doing these press conferences across the entire state of New York. As I said, this is an important issue to so many people. We're going to continue to garner support, and we're going to deliver this, again, to the governor and the legislature and really push for them to do one of two things. One, pass the legislation and create the change that's needed, or two, the governor can put this into her budget language and we can pass it that way. But this is common sense legislation that will help keep dangerous individuals off our streets. And really, I have to say it again, our colleagues in the legislature and the governor owe it to every victim, every law enforcement officer working to keep us safe, and every person who simply wants to live without fear to enact the PROTECT Act.